Good afternoon, everybody. This is Frank Messina, the Chatham Historical Commission, October 20th, 2020 meeting. We're going to start the meeting. Number of things to be read, but certainly due to some technical difficulties, this might be a little bit disjointed, but we're going to press on. Please note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone, tablet, device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Anybody recording? All right, hearing none. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A-18, and the Governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance and members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately address the proceeding as provided for in the order. As a reminder, that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling on the phone 508-945-4410, conference ID 524-133-208, hashtag, which your chairman is now doing, I guess, because nobody else can hear me. Despite our best efforts, we will not be able to provide for real-time access and will post the record of this meeting on the town website as soon as possible. The meeting will be held pretty much in our regular form, other than the fact that we will have to take roll call every time we make a decision and when the chairman calls. I'm getting an incoming call. Is that anybody from the town calling me?
Not I.
Okay, so, and Michelle, am I coming through loud and clear?
Yes, sir, you are.
All right, let's proceed then. Maybe it was the state trying to tell me I won the lottery. Okay. First item of business is a roll call to see if we have a meeting here. Mr. Lear, Bob Lear.
Yes, sir.
Sandy is absent. Ben?
Here.
Stephanie?
Here.
Jane?
Here.
John?
Here.
And Mr. Burlingame?
Here.
Erica is absent with Sandy. So, Steve, you are the alternate voting today?
Yes.
For Sandy? Thank you very much. Okay. So we will proceed. We do not have minutes of our last meeting. I'm told they will be ready for our next meeting. We have about 6 or 7 applications, so it's a long meeting. And under new business, I have a discussion under rules and regulations and review of application guidelines for submission. And we're going to, in the future, make some changes to avoid this many applications in one meeting, especially in the current situation. It's just more than we want to be sitting here in front of this computer for 2.5 hours. Okay, the first application we have is a continuation of application 20025, 99 Pond View Lane, continued from 12/10/6/20.
Great. And Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is Chris Luistro. Unfortunately, my builder, Michael London, MJ, is on the line. He's a little under the weather with all that many people in this country are fighting with. So we wish him Godspeed in his recovery. He is here to answer any questions, but I agreed that I would be doing majority of the talking if that's okay. I'm Chris Luistro. I'm the homeowner. I'm also on the listing.
All right, and that was Chris, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So continuing from our discussion last time, I am asking the commission to relook at a vote you took on the first meeting, sir. And it's around calling the home historically relevant to the first place. You did take a vote last meeting to keep it historically relevant. However, based on evidence I supplied to Michelle, who I believe she shared with the commission, I'm asking you to potentially have discussion to review that. And if you could give me a minute, I can say why. The home was originally put in front of the committee in 2014, where you voted to keep it historically relevant. In the last meeting, there was some questioning as to why. Ultimately, you still voted to keep it, and I understand that. However, what I did supply the commission with is video documentation of the actual build, which shows the attempt to keep one wall in the legacy building in 2015. At that time, the building inspector deemed that unsafe and ordered a complete raise of the building, which you'll see in the time-lapse photography of the video, it being done. So I don't know if that impacts, I'm asking the commission, does that impact the historical relevance? Because ultimately, if I submit something for a partial demolition, there's really nothing remaining of the home to partially demolish. Everything is new. So I'm asking for a potential revote on that based on that video evidence that we supplied in between meetings. I'll pause.
Okay, well, interesting situation. I guess it's the first time for everything. And, you know, the application at the present time is relative to the addition to an historically significant structure, which, as you said, was found to be historically significant in 2015. And the commission, in good faith, as far as I'm concerned, you know, just reaffirmed our previous decision, because as far as we were concerned, there was no change to the structure other than what we had previously approved. It looks like something happened which the historical commission was not privy to. And for some reason, certain elements of a previously approved determination were allowed to change without the historical commission's knowledge. So that's a problem. It's a problem for the town on what happened. So I don't know. Quite honestly, I have to think about, and I guess I'd like time to confer with the director of community development and the building inspector relative to where we are on that particular, say, situation of what actually happened. Michelle, if I understand, there was really nothing in the file.
Yeah, there was nothing in the historical commission file, Frank, and after Mr. Luistro shared the time-lapse video with me, which I in turn shared with the commission, it appeared that that one wall that was originally supposed to remain was allowed to be taken down by the former commissioner. There's not much record in the record of what happened in the building file either, other than to say that demolition was allowed as discussed. So absent the video that the homeowner shared with me and subsequently you, I would not have known anything about it.
And Mr. Commissioner, I do need to state, I bought this home as a traditional listing. I was not involved in any of that, and I'll leave it up to the town.
I understand.
Do that.
Yeah, nobody's pointing fingers, sir. That's not the issue. As far as I'm concerned, it's a question of how to proceed. What I'd like to do, and I did quite candidly look at Michelle, was that video shared with everybody?
Yes, Frank, it was shared with all the commission members.
All right. What I would like to do, Chris, is to discuss this with the building department. And you know, I didn't think we were going to get into that. I thought at this particular point, the continuation of this hearing was to discuss your revised plans.
And I am prepared to do that, Mr. Commissioner. I wasn't.
Make a determination. I'm sorry, let me finish. And not to make a determination relative to the historical significance. I'd like to be able to talk to somebody you know, in terms of the town or council on how we could proceed on that. So I'm not at that particular point. That's what I would like to do.
And I consider
then-
that to be very fair. If you don't mind, can we then proceed to the part that you were anticipating? Because I am prepared to cover the revised plans, which I think, based on the feedback the commission gave me, you should be somewhat, well, I hope for you to be satisfied with.
Chris, I appreciate your cooperation, and why don't we do that? So, ladies and gentlemen of the public and members of the commission, what we have is the application in which we previously found historically significant, but there was some question which was brought up, which we're going to revisit. But at this particular point, the applicant has provided some new drawings. And so why don't you walk us through what you're proposing, sir?
Great, thank you. And I think what you're seeing, it may look somewhat similar, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm asking you to let me go through a little bit what we decided to do. So my wife and I took your comments into consideration, and we worked with our architect to put forth better plans that demonstrate what we're looking to do, while also keeping intact the needs of my growing family for our forever home here. Couple of comments you made in the last meeting. One, some concerns around the widow's walk that looked like a hat. Two, we had 2 front doors. 3, that we were doubling the size of the home. And then lastly, you know, you should look at maybe potentially raising the property and starting over. We took into account and produced at my expense some artist rendition of what the addition will look like, because the plans clearly do not show what that is. So Michelle, thank you for going there. This is ultimately what the new property would look like. And it addresses a few things before I open it back for your discussion. You can see the depth of the addition. It's far off the front of the home. It's not making it just an elongated cape. It does make it look traditional, like someone added on to a 3/4 cape. I know that's important to the town, and I want to keep that important to me in the neighborhood as well. It's only adding 800 square feet, which is a total of about 400 square feet in lot coverage. I'm asking the commission, you know, politely here. The home is only 1,550 square feet. By adding only 1 floor, which was a suggestion, it does not keep up with the demands of my family. And frankly, I think it's something that the commission is going to need to see more and more in the post-COVID era, where people are going to need to do more with homeschooling, with home office, so my wife and I can work from home and school our children. You'll clearly see that it does not have 2 front doors. That second door, which will be behind a picket fence gate, is a secondary access to the new addition. And then lastly, 2 more things. We kept the siding, obviously, and the shutters and the moldings all consistent across the front and the sides. And we addressed the widow's walk to make it more look like those that you'll see throughout town with the X patterns. We are amenable to changing any of the views to make sure that they fall in line to what the commission's looking for. So hopefully, Mr. Chairman, you'll see we're trying to do what's right here and help the commission come to a finding that we're trying to make this a home worth extending. But also we have that secondary argument around the historical relevance. So I'll kind of pause for any questions that the commission may have.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments and your cooperation. Well, I'm going to hold my comments, and hopefully everybody's had a chance to walk past this house and take a look at it. So putting aside the issue being raised earlier, why don't we do this? Maybe we can resolve things a lot quicker. I'd like to ask the commission members if they have any questions or comments relative to the changes as proposed as it relates to the application, and whether or not you have any problems or issues and want to discuss. Let's go right down the list. Bob?
Yes, I reviewed Sarah Corjeff's recommendations from a number of years ago about how additions should be structured and designed. And I think I agree with the applicant that he's done a pretty good job in complying with what we should be looking for. It is the roof house and the roof deck which are completely off-putting to me. I mean, it's got nothing to do with any historical design. And it's just, and it's tied right together. So you separate the addition, you tie it together with the roof deck. So that to me is just a non-starter. Addition, yes. Stuff on the roof, no.
Okay, Ben?
I'm in agreement with our vice chair. Not so much with the part that's on top of the addition. Widow's Walk still looks like a cap on top, and that would be my major objection, whereas the other part is not as bothersome to me. That's it.
Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. My microphone jumped on. Stephanie?
The Widow's Walk greatly bothers me. Everything else I think is a great job.
Jane?
I agree with what Bob said. I have a real problem with a Widow's Walk. I know that we don't have any design review, but it still, to me, looks like a hat. And I have a little problem with the deck on top of the addition also. So it's the roof that bothers me. Otherwise, I like the setback and I appreciate the fact that the owner wants to save the historic structure and to make it prominent and set back the addition. That's my comment.
Don? Thank you, Jane. Don?
I don't know why we're even talking about this. This is a brand new house. We have no jurisdiction, and
I'm sorry, Don, are you on your phone or your
No.
computer? Huh?
I
Okay.
don't know why we're even discussing this. This is a brand new house. There's nothing left of the historic house, and we have no jurisdiction over this.
Well, I guess we were gonna take that jurisdiction vote, but I really wanted to understand, the reversing the process, but you have no comment on what he's presenting, or you just feel you don't have a jurisdiction?
I don't think we have jurisdiction, so I have no comment.
All right, Ben, Steve?
I agree with Don. We're not talking about an addition to an old house. We're talking about an addition to a house that once had some old parts and no longer does. And for that reason, I don't think we have jurisdiction. I think if best or worse, what we should do with the applicant's approval is pass this or continue it until there's an opportunity to determine whether or not there is any historical basis
Okay, all right,
at this
I
point.
got you. I got you, Steve. All right, we had that preliminary discussion at the beginning, and the applicant wanted some comments, so we now have the comments. Given that, without taking any formal vote relative to the issue of jurisdiction, being the applicant agreed to let's take a look at the video, and I'd like to look at the video with the building inspector, understand a little bit, and then the issue of the redetermining. And our vote at the next meeting could be after some deliberation relative to revising the historical significance decision. And then it would just be done at that particular point. So at that particular thing, just to not to belabor this thing anymore, unfortunately, it's taking too long already. So why don't I'd like to see if we get a motion to continue it to our next meeting, and then we can resolve this issue. Thank you. Bob?
Michelle, our next meeting is November 17th.
Yes.
Are there a lot of cases listed then?
I have 2 so far, but the deadline is tomorrow.
Okay, well then I move that the commission continue this case to November 17th with the applicant's permission.
I'm
Second,
Stephanie Wilson, I'll second.
Jane, second.
Thank you, Vice Stephanie.
Yes,
All right, any other discussion? All right, Bob?
If you could just give me 1 second, this is Mike London, the builder. I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to point out quick one thing with your discussions. Sorry, with your discussions with the building commissioner, Jay Briggs. At the time, the building commissioner was Justin Post.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
I guess just to give you the quick overview, so you've got it all in the back of your mind. We got it, the original structure to the point where the commission, where we agreed with the commission to take it to. And the structure itself was, it was actually, the original was like strapping instead of studs, like true, like 3/4 by 2 inch. And then there was clapboard nailed to that. And then it was actually, they built walls inside of that, or sorry, they built the floor inside of that. And then they had built 2 separate sections of walls new on top of it, like rip studs down to make the walls thicker, add insulation, and then again to make it deep. Excuse me, to make it deep enough for windows. And none of it was sitting on the foundation. So we
All
at
right,
this
well,
point we asked
we-
Justin to come out. And
Okay, well, we have a little bit of miscommunication here that transpired with the previous building inspector, and I think we can resolve it pretty quickly with my discussion with Jay. So, having said that, let's proceed with the vote, and it's very simply to continue it to the next meeting, and then we can resolve it, and then we'll advertise it properly accordingly.
Yeah,
Um,
can I,
so-
and he did, one of the commission members, Frank, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did say based on my approval. I
I
do
can't-
appreciate that. I do give my approval. However, I am asking one ask, please. Since this was already continued from a month ago and now we're looking at another month, if you do deem talking with town council and the building inspector that you don't have jurisdiction, can we, without a vote, take it off the registry, or does it have to go to the next meeting to take it off the registry? We're clearly anxious to proceed.
That's exactly the question I need to resolve in my own mind, and that it's as simple as that. So it's not a big deal. I would hope that your comment is correct, and then we can come to determination. But I have a feeling that we're going to need to have a commission meeting just to validate, the previous decision, and hopefully it'll be quick and dirty. So
I understand. I
Allow-
thank you for doing that homework, and as you can see, I'm trying to work with you guys based on the structure I put forth.
absolutely. All right. So the decision, very simply, motion from Bob Lear to continue it. I believe Stephanie, you seconded it. Ben?
Yes.
Okay. Jane?
Yes,
Don? Steve?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to continue this. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your drawings, please, in your application. Okay. Between my not being able to get on the computer and this discussion, we're 45 minutes into the meeting. All right, we're gonna try to move quickly here. Application 20028, 122 Cedar Street. This is an application to be heard in accordance with chapter 158. This application was actually continued from the previous meeting, and I believe the application was continued because of the quotes quality of the application, which we're going to discuss later on. Who's here for the applicant?
This is Peter Perkins, Frank.
Thank you
hear
very
me
much,
all right?
Peter. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, I guess, can you hear me now? Okay, this is 122 Cedar Street, was originally built between 1830, 1850, Greek Revival. This Form B was updated in 2015 by Eric Dre, our preservation consultant. So without putting words in anybody's mouth, I assume the applicant is not going to argue on the historical significance of the property.
No, not at all. And we're, it's something that
Okay.
we're
All
very
right, so
fond
we'll
of.
move things. If you would allow me, we'll then have a discussion relative to historical significance. And if there is no discussion, Bob, do you have you have a motion?
I have a motion if you're ready for it.
Yep.
All right, I move the Historical Commission find that the building located at 112 Cedar Street is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more. And we also find that it's associated with one or more historical persons and possesses architectural value and significant in terms of period and style.
122.
Bob, one correction, it's 122 Cedar.
Okay, I thought I said that, but
Okay, have a second, please?
Jane, second.
Jane, thank you very much. Roll call, Mr. Lear,
yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes,
Jane,
Yes,
Don,
Yes.
and Steve?
Yes.
Okay, we've determined the house to be historically significant. Hopefully you folks got a chance to look at it. We have a number of photographs of the addition, which basically is what the applicant is asking for the demolition of an addition in the back of the house and a major replacement of that addition. If the applicant would bear with me,
Uh-huh.
the drawings are a little bit difficult to follow, but why don't you go ahead? I'll give you a nickel.
Yeah, maybe I can help you out here. I don't know how to turn the pages here, but the one that I'm looking at, I assume everybody's looking at, is the left elevation. Everything that is two-story towards the right side of the page is the original Greek Revival. And the one story to the back with the low pitch roof and a shed, part of that's a shed, is the addition it's an old addition too, but it was an addition that was placed on after the original building was completed.
Ali Zabatino is controlling the drawing, so you just tell her which drawing you want and she'll put it up.
All right, this is probably a good one. This is the foundation and the front runs parallel with Cedar Street, and the addition that we want to remove is from the line where if you
Ally,
Yes.
you okay?
And
Yep, sorry, we just lost power at the annex, but we're back now. So I'm gonna reshare.
The gremlins are working on us today. All right.
okay, so that's the foundation again. Part of this too, I should say, and what's really driving the whole thing is we're putting a new foundation under it. We've had some walls that are pushed, and some of this, the original foundation was sort of cobbled on. Part of it is, so if you want to go to page 2, that's the floor plan of the addition. So the drawing on the lower left, first floor plan, just shows the interior workings of that space. Above that, we're putting a bathroom, which will serve a bedroom on the second floor of the Greek Revival with a shed roof, which I'll show you in the next drawings from the elevations. This particular elevation is 3. That's the existing Greek Revival front facade. And that is to remain, again, we're putting a new foundation under it. We're maintaining the elevations of the brick to grade, trying to replicate exactly what's there.
Can I ask a quick question? You're
Sure.
making no changes to any of the doors or the windows on the facade?
No.
Okay.
The next page, page 4, is the left elevation. The sort of stick frame portion on the right is the Greek Revival. The part that's been detailed with shingles and windows is the addition. And what that is, one thing we're changing, the old addition we're taking off has a roof pitch that's about 2.5, 12, a very shallow roof pitch. And we are replacing that with a roof pitch that's consistent with the Greek Revival of 10, 12. We are also matching the window sizes that are in the Greek Revival. The old edition had small windows. The new edition will have windows that match the size of the Greek Revival windows. On the second floor, you can see where that little shed dormer comes in to provide for a bathroom upstairs.
What's the purpose of the shed dormer?
To provide for a bathroom off the second floor, one of the bedrooms on the second floor.
Got it. The window pattern will be the same as the basic Greek Revival?
Yep. Yeah, and the Greek Revival on the front facade, it has, you know, the classic really tall Greek or tall 6-foot windows. On the back side of the original windows were shorter, but they're still big and still have the classic pattern, and those are the ones that will be replicated in the addition.
Okay. Next one.
Page 5. That is the right elevation. And it shows, again, the portion that's not filled in with detail is the existing Greek Revival to remain as is. And then the rest of that is the right side of the new addition, showing the 10-12 pitch roof now and the windows. And there is an existing deck there, which we are going to, when they lift the foundation, they say they can remove that and it'll just go back in where it was.
Okay.
And then number 6 is the rear elevation. Again, the detailed portion is the addition, showing that 10-12 roof, matching window. You can see the window sizes there match up with the existing louver in the gable. Shows a little shed roof off, again, where the bathroom serving the second floor is going to be.
Is that it?
And that is about it. Are there any
Okay.
questions on any of those? We went through kind of quickly, but
No, that's okay. You know, the biggest problem I have is your drawings are so light. And the reproduced copies are, you know, in some cases barely discernible.
huh.
You don't have a
Um,
2H pencil?
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
seriously.
And
mean,
she's
you know,
supposedly black and
the
dark
first
in
set
the
of, the first set of drawings, you know, there wasn't much and you could hardly read them. And then just the copies, extremely difficult to read. Now, these are a lot better.
Is
There's
there
no
anything-
question about it.
Yeah, I brought that up with the girl at the copy place, and she said she would, she definitely had darkened things up, but if there's anything specific I can address for you.
Well, I think it's a little bit better. So why don't we go around the members of the commission and see how they feel? We've already determined the house to be historically significant. No question about it. But relative to what the applicant is proposing for the addition to this structure, if you guys have a chance to hopefully have a site visit and look at it, Mr. Lear, Bob?
Working on it. Yeah, I did go out to the site and I appreciate the photographs because I was greeted by a gang of 8 wild turkeys that I wasn't interested in walking around very long.
Yeah, they're there.
Anyway, I like it, so I have no questions.
Very good.
Thank you.
Ben?
I agree with Bob. I like it. No questions.
Thank
Stephanie?
you.
I just have one question about number 4, the map on 4.
Yep.
The old house is all the white part, so the old house would be bigger than the addition, taller?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the ridge of the new one ties into the lowest part of the low front. Yeah. I
So I have no objection.
specifically kept that ridge lower than the existing.
Okay, Steph?
Thank you, thank you.
Thank
Jane?
you.
Jane?
I agree with Bob. I have no problem with it, and I ran into the turkeys too.
John?
Thanksgiving is coming. They're there every day if anyone's interested.
John?
My only comment is, could they bring the former of the new bathroom?
Can I ask the commission a question? Does everybody else have problem hearing Don, or is it just me?
I
Yes.
do.
Yes, can't hear him.
All right, how
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
here?
I can't.
Is that better?
Don? Yeah, that's
That's
better,
better.
but boy, it's very low. All right, Mr. Burlingame.
I haven't finished.
Did Don say he had not finished?
Right. Would it be possible to bring the roof of the dormer down a foot from the peak and start it there instead of starting it at the peak?
I can't, well, not really. Right now, it's about a 312 pitch. I agree with what you're saying in principle, but at 312 pitch, you really don't want to go any shallower than that for the shingles.
Okay, that's my only
and-
comment.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at that also, Don, but, you know, given the height of the house, I think it'd be a problem. Okay, Steve?
I think it's a very nice way of adding an appropriate addition to a Greek revival house. It doesn't overwhelm the original house in any way, and I think it's consistent and it's a job well done.
Thank you.
Very good. I would agree with the attorney, Mr. Burlingame. I think it was well done. So having said that, I guess we just need a motion. We seem to have a consensus.
Okay, you ready for the motion, Frank?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the proposed work to be done dated October 6, 2020 will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Jane,
Second,
second.
please. Jane, thank you. Bob,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Stephanie,
yes,
Jane,
Yes,
Don,
Yes,
Steve,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. I would talk to your printmaker, but thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Stay healthy, everybody. Thanks.
Okay, you too. Be safe.
Thank you.
All right. Next application is 144 Pleasant Street. Gee, we're not making good headway here, guys. This will be heard both under Chapter 158 Demolition Delay Bylaw and also as an eligible contributing structure in an eligible National Register district. So 144 Pleasant Street. Hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to visit the property in South Chatham, Dodge Country. Who is hearing this application? Who's presenting it?
My name is Larry Broody, contractor for Joe and Karen Cacciatore.
Okay. This is a, hold on one second. There is a Form B on the property. And the original house was built in, it looks like 1850 Greek Revival. And again, as we said, it was reviewed again in 2011, I believe by Gray and Pape, our preservation consultants at the time. So we have a sense of the house, and just to move things along, Larry, is there any concern as it relates to us determining the house to be historically significant?
No, sir.
Okay, so having said that, if there's no further discussion by the members, I would entertain a motion to validate what we previously said as part of the National Register application, that this in fact is a contributing, is a historically significant property in an eligible National Register district. Mr. Lear?
Yes, Frank. I move the Historical Commission confirms that the building located at 144 Pleasant Street is a contributing structure in an eligible National Historic Register district.
Very
Jane,
good.
second.
Jane, thank you. Okay, we're gonna do a roll call. If there's no other questions or comments. Ben,
Yes.
Stephanie,
yes,
Jane,
Yes,
Don,
yes,
Steve? Steve? I'm
Yes.
getting hoarse.
Yes.
Steve, thank you very much. Okay, here we go. Okay, Larry, if you could give us a quick overview of what you're proposing.
I think the most efficient way to do it is if we go to elevation A2. I think that clearly shows what the proposed project is. We're looking to remove the back, say, 30 feet of the existing building, which is a two-car garage and an extension of the existing kitchen. It was an addition put on sometime in the 60s or 70s. The white portion of the existing structure on the right, you can see, is the original house, and that will remain. We're looking to replace everything highlighted in yellow with a family room and master bedroom above in a very similar footprint, expanded slightly towards the middle of the property, as well as renovate the existing house, change the windows and keep the same sizes and style, just to update and preserve the historical nature of the existing building. That's pretty much the bulk of the project. I mean, if there are questions, I feel like that might be the most efficient way to continue.
Thank you very much. I was about to commend you, Larry, on the quality of your presentation. And then I look down in the corner and I see it's our good friends, Mr. Zebrat and Paul McCarthy.
I'll take credit for it, though. I made Paul.
No, wait a second. I'm being a little off the thing, but, when I was complaining about our previous applicant, it's not that we want to make every application go through the expense, but, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to understand what we're actually doing here. It just makes the process go quickly. So, but again, okay. Having said that, I have to generally agree with you. It's a nice presentation, and more importantly, a significant amount of change to the property. But I think you still maintain the historical character of this potentially National Register district property. So that's my comment. Mr. Lear?
Yep. You want me to offer a motion? Is that it?
No, I think we ought to get through the commission first.
Comment? No, I
Any
agree.
comment?
I have no problem with the proposal.
Very good. Ben?
Same, no problem.
Stephanie?
I just have a question about the cupola. Is it higher than the house? Looks like it's gonna be higher than the old house.
There will be no cupola on the proposed addition.
Oh, good. Thank you.
What happened? You're gonna change the drawing?
No, there is no cupola. The proposed is the bottom. The cupola on the upper top will be removed.
Yes. Jane, you did the same thing I did, Steph. That's the existing. Okay. Anything else, Steph?
Nope.
All right, Jane?
No, I don't have a problem with it.
I think you're muted.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, the addition is higher than the original house. And I think one of the things we've all stressed over the years is that it shouldn't overwhelm the original house. I wondered if there's any way of lowering that addition.
That's exactly what I was saying.
The reason for it was to keep the roof pitches of the original house. And we didn't think it was that big of an issue as it's set back that far from the street. It's really almost not visible from Pleasant Street itself.
Don, this is Frank. I kind of had the same comment, but then when I went to the property and looked at the distance from the street, I kind of understood it. And anyway, but that's my comment. Anything else, Don?
That's all.
Steve?
I'm comfortable with it.
All right. We seem to have a consensus and no real showstoppers in terms of comments. So if everybody is comfortable, I entertain a motion, Bob.
Yep. I move that the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the materials dated September 22nd, 2020 show that the proposed alterations, additions, and renovations do not constitute a substantial alteration to a contributing structure located in an eligible National Historic Register district, and therefore discretionary referral to the Cape Cod Commission for review is not necessary.
Second, Steph?
All right. I guess what you did is you combined both resolutions there, right, Bob?
No, We did that, we confirmed it was, first confirmed it was eligible in an eligible district, and then that the alterations do not constitute
Okay,
a
now-
substantial alteration.
Yeah, I'm with you. I guess then we need a second one after this as it relates to chapter 158. I'm sorry.
Oh, we do, I agree.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. I think that was Steph, right?
Yes,
Okay, Bob? Roll
Yes.
call, Bob?
Yes, yes,
Ben?
Yes,
Steph?
yes,
Jane?
Yes,
Don?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And Michelle, you got to remind me to ask if anybody in the public wants to speak for or against the application, but I think we're good. So we need one other motion, Bob? As it relates to 158? Bob, are you okay there?
yeah, I turned the microphone off by mistake. I move the
Okay,
Historic
no problem.
Commission finds the building located at 144 Pleasant Street is historically significant because it is whole or in part 75 years old or more, is located in an eligible National Register Historic District, and possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style.
Jane, second.
Thank you, Jane. All right, roll call, Bob,
Yes,
Ben,
yes,
Steph,
yes,
Jane,
Yes,
Don,
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate
Frank.
it.
Frank, we need a second motion
We did the second one.
on demolition delay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was that one.
No. The first was referral to the Cape Cod Commission.
Oh, so you just referred it. You didn't refer it. Okay, all right. All right, go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
All right,
Frank, you didn't vote on the last one.
Chair votes yes all the time. Okay,
ready? Chatham Historical Commission finds the proposed work to be done dated September 22nd, 2020 will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
second step,
Second.
thank you, Steph. Bob? Mr. Lear?
Yes,
Ben?
yes,
Steph?
yes,
Jane?
Yes,
Don?
Yes.
Steve? And the
Yes.
chair votes yes. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. Okay. We have 3 more applications, and I've been screaming into my cell phone here for the past hour or so, and I'm going to recommend that we take a 5-minute break so I can get a good drink of water and stop yelling. Could somebody please make that motion? We're going to take a 5-minute recess.
so moved.
So moved. Steve?
Thank you, Jane. Mr. Lear, yes.
Yeah,
Ben, yes. Stephanie, yes. Stephanie? Steph?
yes,
Jane?
yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay, we will now, it is now 10:20, excuse me, 3:44. We will reconvene at 3:50. this application is one of two applications which probably should not have even come before the commission if we had an administrative review process, which we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. But having said that, we're following the law, which says we have a home, 27 Willow Bend, which is more than 75 years age and meets the basic requirement for review by the Chatham Historical Commission. There is no Form B on the property, and I believe it was indicated a no on the survey by the Historical Commission. We also have a letter from a nearby resident as it relates to the application. Having said all of that, who do we have here in the application presenting?
Good afternoon, Paul Muldoon, Muldoon Architects here, representing Gene Nutt and the new owners of this property.
Thank you, Paul. I think we could probably move quickly on this application if we tend to have consensus among the commission members over the comments which I previously made relative to no Form B, no on the historical survey, even though the property is 75 years old. Does anyone on the commission wish to comment as it relates to the historical significance of the property?
I would certainly move that it's not.
Who's that?
That's Steve.
All right, Steve, why don't you make the motion?
Wait a minute, Frank. It's Jane. Did you say it was not 75 years old or it is 75 years old?
It is 75 and therefore it came before the commission, but that was the only criteria.
I would like to say that I think it's a good example of a full cave.
Well, okay. Why don't we, we could proceed two ways here, guys. We can have a discussion as it relates to historical significance. Mr. Burlingame made his comment. He felt the property was not historically significant and wanted to make a motion. So Ben, Steve, if you still would like to make the motion, we can second it and discuss it.
Well, I thought that we did discuss buildings that were 75 years old.
All right, the issue here, Jane, the house is 75 years old. It does have a requirement to go before the historical commission. The discussion, Steve, could you withdraw your motion for a second until we have the discussion? Thank you.
I shall do that.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go down the route here, guys. Does anybody wish to speak to the historical significance of the property? And so far, Mr. Burlingame, Mr. Burlingame ended, he didn't think it was historically significant. So we'll go down the list. Bob?
Frank, I think we can find that it sort of by stretch meets the definition because it does, as Jane said, it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style. It is your standard cape. Now, if we start saying they're all historically significant, then we may not want to go down that road.
Well, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Vice Chair. So, Ben, how do you feel about it?
Wait,
I'm sorry, Ben, can you say it again?
no comment.
No comment.
No
Stephanie?
comment.
I happen to agree with Jane, unless we change the rules, it's historically significant.
All right. Don?
Yeah, I think it's significant.
Okay.
You didn't
If
ask me, but I think it's historically significant.
Who is that? I can't understand. Jane? Okay.
Yeah.
So right now we have Jane, Don, and Stephanie who feel the house is historically significant. Ben has no comment. Bob, I wasn't sure if that's a yes or no for you.
I can go either way. I have no problem. I agree philosophically with Jane and Stephanie.
All right. The chair, I guess I haven't opined yet. I love that word. I agree that it does meet the 75 years requirement. I also agree that it is an example of a potentially, style of a particular house. But I do not agree that a house is historically significant. And I think I would go along with the preservation consultant, Eric Dre, when he indicated a Form B was not even necessary for this property because there was nothing historically significant by the architecture or the particular design. Now, that's my feeling, so I'm a no. So, gentlemen and ladies, we have a difference of opinion here. Yes, the house is 75. Yes, it does contain a reproductive view of a Cape house. The question is that particular Cape house, which is 75 years old, historically significant? I think the house was built in 1930s. Well, the original house. So I leave it to you guys. Steve, you want to remake that motion and let's put it to bed one way or the other?
Notwithstanding the fact that this house is more than 75 years old, it is my opinion that the house is not historically significant.
Okay, can you give me a little reason why?
It's just a common design of a house. It's a copy of what houses may have looked like in the 18th and 19th century. Strictly a copy. It doesn't have any particular features that are unique. It's just a plain full cape. But I hate to say the word full because full sounds like a historical term, like a 3/4 or a half. This is just Cape Cod style house.
I was looking for a few curse words to put in the motion, but I think we have it. So do we have a second for that motion? We have a motion that it's not historically significant. Do we have a second to the motion?
I'll second it, Ben.
All right, Ben, second the motion that it is Steve's motion that he feels it's not historically significant. Okay, now we'll have the formal discussion. I think Mr. Burlingame made his comments very clear why he felt it was not historically significant. I'm going to go down the list again, see if we have consensus. Mr. Lear?
Yeah, I have to go with the thought that it is significant because I don't like the thought of somebody being able to just tear it down and put up some modernistic structure instead. So I say no.
Okay. All right. And Ben, you already voted not historically significant, or is that correct?
I say it is historically significant.
Ben?
Yeah, you got my vote. I don't think it's historically significant.
Got it. Stephanie?
I do think it's historically significant.
Thank you. Jane?
I agree. I think historic.
Jane?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I think it's historic. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, I got you.
Historically significant. I think it does have the architectural features of a full cape, and we don't have enough of them that are 75 years old that are left. So I vote no.
Okay. All right. Wait a second. One time at a guy, guys. You guys are confusing me. Don?
Definitely significant.
Okay. And the chair votes not historically significant, but we have 3 noes and 4 yeses. Did I do that? Yes, I did. So, the
I
motion fails.
think that Jane got
The
mixed up on the
motion- Would you let me finish talking? Please don't interrupt. The motion fails that it is not historically significant. At this particular point, if someone would like to make a motion to claim the house is historically significant, I would look to Mr. Lee to help lead the charge.
I can do that, I think. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 27 Willow Bend is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more and possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style.
Jane, second.
Jane, second. Okay. Assuming there's no further discussion, we're going to take a roll call on the house being historically significant. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Ben?
No,
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steve?
No.
And the chair votes no, but the motion passes. So we determine the house is historically significant. Okay, give me A for F to try to move things along. But having said that, what was the name of the applicant? Again, Mr. Muldoon, was that it?
Yes,
I apologize, sir, trying to move things along. Can you
understood.
give us a couple of words on what you're trying to do?
Absolutely. I think this is a good page to start where we're looking at the existing east elevation. We see the width of the full cape here and the area of demolition for our proposed dormer and front entry porch is outlined in red. We're also removing the vinyl shutters from the structure as well. Moving around the building to the south elevation, the top left.
Hello, just a second, I'm gonna turn this down. Okay.
Frank said that the house across the street, they had some cockamamie plan. They sent it back for some revisions, so.
Well, we just saw the revision, they just passed it. They gave it a thumbs up.
Am I good to proceed?
I'm sorry. Who's speaking? Please.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, they are. I saw the drawings and thought you might want to see them. They,
Excuse me.
they,
Slow down. Who's speaking?
our section in the back off.
Who's
That
speaking,
is
please?
not The original house,
Could you
still
stop?
older, but.
Could you stop speaking? Ladies and gentlemen, I got the feeling there were more than one person speaking at the same time. And I don't know about everybody else, but I can't understand anything that's being said. The architect, I believe, was Mr. Muldoon, was presenting it. Are you continuing, Mr. Muldoon?
I'd love to.
All right. Please don't speak unless Mr. Muldoon is done. Thank you. Go ahead, proceed, continue.
So we spoke about the front existing elevation. That's the face that faces Willow Bend, where we have a new dormer proposed outlined in the red area of the area of demolition and a front entry porch also outlined. We'll be replacing the existing vinyl shutters on that front elevation. As we go to the south elevation on the left-hand side, the only area of work here is removal of the vinyl shutters. Moving to the rear elevation, and that is the west elevation. You can see an outline in red where we're proposing to remove the bay window and replace it with French doors and side lights. The double hung window over the kitchen sink will be removed for a double casement. And we're also removing the vinyl shutters from this elevation. On the existing north elevation, we are closing one window and filling it with matching shingles of the sidewall and removing the shutters. Allie, if we can move to page A 2.1, please. So here we have the proposed east elevation where you can see the extent of the new shed dormer across the front of the roof and our proposed front entry covered porch. The new dormer includes 3 new windows, The exterior wall will be pushed back from the face of the first floor wall, allowing the existing trim work and frieze and dental trim to remain and stretch across the front of the structure, and then incorporate into our new front entry porch. The materials here will match the existing in trim, corner boards, dentals, gutters, all white and painted. The new windows will be a very close match to the existing, and the front entry porch will be adorned with 8-inch square columns and a very simple entry roof. Moving to the next page, please. Here on the south elevation, you can see the expanse of our front entry porch at 3'5". It's a fairly modest entry porch, and the outline of our new shed dormer, which matches fairly closely to the rear dormer. On this elevation, it is set in from the side wall about 12 inches, and so it does sit within the confines of the existing main roof. The main roof line pitch is an 11 pitch, and our new shed dormer pitch is a 4.5 pitch. Next page, please. On this rear elevation, you can see the existing shed dormer across the back, and we've noted where we're replacing new doors and side lights. And the new kitchen window here is replacing those two double hungs. We are replacing the existing door in the current location for the entry door into that kitchen. Here on the north elevation, starting on the right-hand side, there is a vinyl outdoor shower there now. We're planning to replace that with a cedar wood enclosure. You can see where the outline is of that one window we are closing in and patching with matching shingles. And then the side profile of our shed dormer and new front entry porch. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any member of the commission have any comments or questions to the applicant? Okay.
Jay, Frank?
Yes.
I would like to say that when the shed dormer is added to the front of the house, it no longer looks like a full cape. And also adding the front porch. So it's a totally different look. I think I might prefer to see doghouse dormers. But we don't have any design review, so.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
Yes, please.
I appreciate your comment, and we've gone back and forth with a number of different alterations here, and the main goal is to attain more usable space on the second floor. And with that, we did explore areas within the neighborhoods nearby and searching for precedent. And there are a number of houses on Silverleaf and Water Street, School Street that have this type of full cape or three-quarter cape that includes a full shed dormer across the front. So we felt like it was in tune and in keeping with the historical nature of the neighborhood and how it sort of worked in with the fabric of this type of historical cape.
I know what you're saying, especially on School Street, because we have talked a lot about those shed dormers. But I just wanted to make the point, it changed the entire look of the house. It looks just like more of an ordinary house.
Frank, this is Steph Hamilton. May I speak?
Yes, what's your question, Steph?
I'm bothered because everything's brought up to the same height as the peak of the house. And I always thought that it was supposed to be slightly shorter than the main house.
May I respond, Chairman?
Yes, please.
So if you go to our next slide, A 2.2, you'll see that our shed dormer is down from the existing ridge. So there is some relief between the two spaces.
Yes, however, if you look on the left side of that, it goes right up to the chimney.
No.
It goes up to the chimney, Steph, but it doesn't go to the peak.
Not meeting the peak was definitely intentionally designed, and that plays into our roof pitch, and making sure that we were keeping some relief between the top of this this shed where it meets the roof and the actual existing roof peak.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? The chair has a question and or comment before we proceed. If I really felt this house was truly historically significant, I would agree with some of the comments made by my fellow commission members, but because I maintain, given the age and not the age, the look of the house and that it is not historically significant, although it may be, more than the 75. So although your comments are valid as far as I'm concerned, if we were dealing with a truly historically significant property, but I just have no, I don't feel that we should be modifying, asking the applicant to modify its application, especially since there's no streetscape. This house is down the lane, and I certainly understand what the applicants are doing. So, having said that, I think we might have consensus here of whether or not to approve or not approve. I heard your comments. I did not ascertain, if I'm wrong, correct me, that there's any showstoppers here that we would not approve the application as submitted. So, Mr. Lear, can you help me here?
I will try. The Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated September 22nd, 2020 will not materially diminish the historic significance of the structure, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Ben?
Second, Ben, second. Thank you. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes, I have a comment that,
And the chair, hold on, and the chair votes yes. What is your comment, sir?
well, my comment is that I think we need to have some time on our agenda where we talk about these reproduction houses.
Mr. Burlingame, excuse me, I'm
Yes.
going to interrupt you. We do have that on our agenda for a future agenda item, so we need to move forward. I mean, I do have it. It's on your agenda on future agenda items, and we will get to that. But
Good.
let's get through
Good.
this meeting. I'm not trying to cut you off, Steve, other than the fact that.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you very much. The applicant, I'm sorry, Mr. Muldoon, thank you very much.
Thank you, very much appreciated.
Okay, I apologize for the curt nature of what the meeting is going on. Okay, the next application.
Wait a minute, Frank, I have one question to Steph Hamilton. How can
Yes,
you be,
Steph, I'm sorry.
how can you be saying it's not historical when we just voted that it was?
I didn't say, I said in my opinion, it wasn't historical.
Right,
I voted no against it being historical, and I voted yes to the application.
doesn't the majority rule?
Yes, yes,
So
we
did
did. We voted to approve the application. Steph, am I clear? Are you clear what we're saying here?
No,
There was a discussion of whether or not the house was historically significant. The majority ruled that the house was historically significant, and we agreed. We moved to the next step, was whether or not we felt unless I missed something, guys, I'm moving quickly here, that we moved that the changes do not materially diminish its historical significance, and we all voted yes. You got it, Steph? Steph, did I lose you?
I said it's okay.
Okay, sorry about that. It's hard to hear, I'm listening on my cell phone, and I apologize, guys. Okay, we're gonna move forward. Application 20032. This is a application for Chapter 158, 24 Salt Pond Road. I believe the applicant, this property is, there is a Form B for this home. It's more than 100 years old. it is in a potentially meets the criteria for in a national register district, for potential national register district. And we're going to hear this. Mr. Ford? Michael?
Yes,
Did we
I'm
lose
fine.
Michael? Yeah, I'm
No, I'm
sorry.
on.
Mike, that's you?
Yes, thank you.
Mike-
May I proceed?
Yeah, Michael, can I ask a quick question before you begin?
Yes,
Given the time of the day and where we're going with this, and with the fact that there is a significant new information which you provided in terms of report, could we just continue this application to the next meeting and just do everything at once, sir?
it's up to you, yes. So we've waited to be heard, but you've had kind of a torturous afternoon. I appreciate that. Will we be heard on the 17th of
Yes,
November?
absolutely. Number one.
Okay, and my apologies for the late filed structural engineers report that came out today. Hopefully everybody got it. I want to make sure, if we can, Mr. Chairman, and I don't know if you can discuss this just threshold question. You mentioned
Surely.
the potential for a National Register district. There is a mention on the Form B that this house could be part of a
Yes.
National Register district in this area, but there is no National Register criteria form that was filled out, nor is there any pending National Register district. At least that's my research. Could you just confirm that that is the case?
That is correct. What happened in 2000, hold on, 19, I think it was 93, there was a Form B done for this property. And
Right.
the previous historical commissions did do an analysis, not only of the individual property, but in the Form G relative to potentially an historic district. And they basically indicated, or the preservation consultant reaffirmed, that it does potentially meet criteria A and C rather, of a National Register, potential national historic district. But you're correct. This commission nor the previous commission never took or has not taken any action as it relates to that section of the community to ask for an application of its National Register significance. Is it eligible?
Okay,
That's correct.
thank you. I just wanted to
Yeah, that-
confirm that I missed something there, so. Okay.
No, you didn't miss anything. I'm sorry. I just kind of read off the information just for the public so they get a sense of what we're doing. And Michael, I
Yeah.
apologize for the delay and
No
I
Frank,
appreciate.
no apologies needed. It is somewhat of a complicated application. There are floodplain issues that bear on any redevelopment of this site that will take some time to walk through. I do have Sean Riley, also coastal engineering on, who's been waiting for this as well. But if we're assured of a full hearing and get everything done at once, I agree that makes more sense, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, Bob, I need a motion to adjourn, continue the application 20042.
I move that the Historical Commission continue this case until November 17th, 2020 with the applicant's approval.
Very good.
Second, Steph Hamilton?
Steph, thank you very much. Mr. Lear,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. We're going to adjourn now to 11:17. Okay, we have one last application to be heard, which hopefully we can dispose of quickly. This is application 20033. Which is going to be heard, 424 Stage Harbor Road. Hearing it both on the chapter 158 and as well as potentially under the Cape Cod Commission regional policy as is situated in an eligible national registered district. Okay, this is our friends on Stage Harbor Road. I will comment that this application, this particular property, there is no Form B. There was listed no on the priority list by a preservation consultant. And having said that, who is the applicant going to present? Who's presenting for the applicant?
This is Bill Riley.
Thank you. Okay, to keep you guys waiting, it's just cozy day. All right, Bill, why don't you go ahead as it relates to historical significance, if you'd like to?
Well, in the first place, as you know, well, some of you know anyway, I think the fact that somebody once thought that having a historic district on Stage Harbor Road was a good idea doesn't mean that this would qualify for the Cape Cod Commission Act. Having said that, I was stunned to learn that anybody above an 8th grade education, you know, would never consider putting this thing as a contributing structure in that non-existent historical district. I mean, this is a 1950 house, unattractive, poorly maintained, and I mean, the idea that it's somehow historically significant. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted that the property owner was required to file. So the
okay.
The purpose of the application is to demolish the house and build a decent house there, one that makes the neighborhood much more attractive and raises the value of all the properties around it.
Okay, thank you. I tried to write out the word flabbergasted, but I couldn't. I don't think I know how to spell it. But I always appreciate your narratives, Bill. Let me just say, just for the record, let me just ask one quick question. Michelle, was this listed as contributing?
Yes, sir. That's why we're hearing it.
No. Was it listed individually as contributing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Frank, I have a
sir.
question about this. Sorry, let me get my picture up.
It's all right.
I did have a discussion with Michelle because I have the Form K, and it does not list the house by street address at all. There is a little block where the house is, but I'm somewhat, I hate to agree agreeing with Mr. Riley, but I don't quite see how this gets to that.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree 100% with you, Bob. When I looked at it, I assumed it was some kind of an error, relative to the issue of contributing and non-contributing, especially since the application was previously, not the application, the review of the property, with no Form B and no on the priority list. I think that was an oversight on the drawings. Michelle, are you using the drawings that we presented for the street to determine was it contributing, or the list of the individual property?
I'm using the list of the individual properties, Frank.
But that's an addendum to the Form K, as far as I can tell. I don't have it.
Yeah. So I would agree. If I may, Mr. Riley, if you would allow me to just a bit of a response before we get into it.
Sure.
I think we have to separate the issue of whether or not the commission, felt it was truly an historic street. And I don't think anybody other than the people who live on Stage Harbor Road in the town of Chatham would indicate that this is not truly an historic area. And you're right. The commission did determine that we were not going to go forward at this particular time. But we did get concurrence from Mass Historic that in fact the street was in fact eligible as a National Register District. But putting that aside, I tend to agree with you, but that's my opinion that, but I have no problem agreeing with you, but let's proceed. and
You'll
ask
get over it,
the
Frank.
commission Comments relative to the issue, only on the issue of historical significance. So we could possibly eliminate this if we go forward. I'm sorry, somebody was trying to speak.
It was, it was Steve, and it was not a worthwhile comment.
Frank, you with us?
Maybe his battery died on his cell phone.
I don't know. Well, if he's not here, then I'm the chair, so I can talk to you. Bill, I do have a question of if it in fact is listed, which it is on one list, as in an eligible district, can we ignore that? Or does it have to, we have to get into the referral to the Cape Cod Commission?
Say that again, Bob?
Well, it is on a list.
Yeah,
not on the list I have, but as a contributing structure in an eligible district, which under the Cape Cod Commission regulations, we need to consider for discretionary referral, I think. You've got a theory we can get around that?
The difficulty I have, Bob, is, it's like a make-believe historical district, because you can't have a historical district unless
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, I lost the connection. Bill, did you do that on purpose? Okay. I'm sorry. I guess something transpired in my absence. Bob, you want to inform me if anything significant transpired?
I asked Bill a question in your absence.
Thank you.
Because the Cape Cod Commission regulations do, under discretionary referral, indicate that there's an ability to refer that to them if the building is in a contributing structure in an eligible National Register Historic District. And
correct.
And I asked Bill, can we just ignore that because maybe we think there was a mistake, or for what reason do we need to, what criteria or reason do we have to have in order not to make a discretionary referral? Bill, does that make sense?
Question? Yeah, Bob, in the first place, it's a discretionary referral, which means you don't have to make it. That's
right,
that's the point of a discretionary referral, as opposed to a mandatory referral.
No, I agree, but what are the criteria for a discretionary referral? It doesn't give us any guidance as to how you do that.
How about just looking at the building?
Bill, Mr. Lear, Mr. Riley, hold on one second. If I may, to try and put this in somewhat perspective, and quite candidly, your chairman is moving to my office because my battery is low on the computer. Having said that, there is no specific criteria relative to make the discretionary referral. When you speak with the council at the Cape Cod Commission and Sarah Korjeff on that whole issue of, a discretionary referral, it is in fact what it says. It is a discretionary referral if in fact the local historical commission and the Cape Cod Commission continues to encourage the local commissions to use its own judgment as it relates to whether something is there was discretionary referral should be made. And by the way, just for information to the members of the commission and the public, it is not, the discretionary referral is not made by the commission. The discretionary referral is made by the town of Chatham, specifically the building inspector or the board of selectmen. The commission itself.
Made by the building commissioner in the first instance.
Right, thank you. Or it can be made by the building commissioner, and actually, I believe there are other agencies within the town which have that authority. But having said that, so the threshold is whether or not you want to make a discretionary referral, in my opinion, should be pretty high. It's not an arbitrary thing. So look, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a good philosophical discussion here, but Mr. Riley charges by the hour. So what I would like to do is ask the members of the commission if, having said what we said so far, and I think that's what I tried to do when I was cut off on my phone, let's go down the list and see how you feel as it relates to specifically our own criteria that we utilize. Do we feel this house is in fact historically commissioned? In the chair's opinion, notwithstanding what may have done either in error or not in error as it relates to the National Register District. So I think that's a fair way to put it, but I'm sure you'll let me know if it wasn't. So, Mr. Lear, can you help me here and proceed? How do you feel?
I certainly think that it is not historically significant. If we're looking just at the Chapter 158 part of it, it doesn't meet the criteria for that. And I'm, I guess, more concerned maybe from a technical legal perspective as to whether Cape Cod Commission regulations are involved if there was some sort of slip up on their part, but I don't know how that could or would have been corrected, and whether we can just ignore it, which was in a sense my question to Mr. Riley. I don't think we should be taking any action, but I don't want to be abusing any discretion.
Well, I would agree with you, Bob, but I believe in the conversations we had, and there were multiple conversations as well as correspondence between legal counsel as it relates to this issue of discretionary referral. And the information I got back, was the word discretionary, that there had to be some kind of a criteria that you felt within your own judgments that this was worthy of a review by Cape Cod Commission. And the question is, does the Historical Commission really want to fall on its sword trying to defend this particular property? And so,
if that's the question, the answer is no.
No, I agree. Ben?
Well, Mr. Chairman, to respond to Bob's procedural concern, since the Historical Commission is not a referring agency, all you could do, it seems to me, the logical thing was you would take a vote. Should we request the building commissioner to refer this to the Cape Cod Commission?
Yes,
take that vote,
Riley,
then you move on from there.
Yes, Mr. Riley, that's what I'm trying to do. So bear with me a bit. Let me go through the process to give people a chance. So, Mr. Lear, you made your comments as it relates to 158 and relative to its historically significant. Ben, do you give any comments as it relates to historical significance?
Yes, I do not think it's historically significant. And it's of interest to me to see our three lawyers dancing around here. And if they can't solve it, then nobody can. All
right.
They always get paid in the end. So I think that we should just proceed with, it's not historically significant, and let it go at that. I think if you want to be a textualist, it says discretionary, and we don't want to, use our discretion to do anything. We looked and we saw it, and we don't think it is.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Stephanie?
Yes.
No.
Thank you. Jane?
I don't think it's historically significant, but I was under the impression that any tear down in a potentially historic district was an automatic referral to the Cape Cod Commission.
Not if it's discretionary, Jane, that's the difference.
Hold on, let me answer the question, Mr. Riley, thank you. No, that's not correct, Jane. It's discretionary, it's not automatic. Don?
Definitely not significant, and I think we're just beating a dead horse here, but whatever.
Yes, we are. We are beating a dead horse, but we got a process we got to follow. Steve?
I would approve any process that would move this thing to be concluded as fast as possible.
Just as simple, it's not historic significant, will do.
I agree, it is not historically significant in any way.
Okay, no more things. And at this particular point, I think it's appropriate. We seem to have a consensus that the particular property is not historically significant. So a
Mr.
motion
Chairman?
in order.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, I see on the list of people attending, Linda Simonich is attending, and she would be a neighbor, and I think you should give her an opportunity to speak if she wants to.
Well, at this particular time, we're going to proceed relative to the historical significance. Does Ms. Simovich wish to speak to historical significance?
No, I don't.
Okay, then why don't we move along? Thank you. All right, so having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we seem to have consensus that the subject property is not historically significant. Mr. Lear, would you kindly make the motion?
I will. I move that Chatham Historical Commission finds that the structure located at 424 Stage Harbor Road is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2 A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Jane, second.
That was Jane.
Second.
Thank you very much. All right, quick roll call. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, we need to do one piece of business to finally remove this application, and that is to indicate that whether or not we would make a discretionary referral to the Cape Cod Commission. I think that is appropriate. Mr. Lear?
I don't have a form motion for this one, so I'm going to try and make it simple.
Yeah.
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission finds the materials printed this date show that a referral to the Cape Cod Commission for review is not necessary.
Second.
Because the commission feels it's not historically significant. I would agree. Okay, we had a second there, right?
No, correct. The motion was that it's a referral to the Cape Cod Commission is not necessary.
That's correct. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who was that second?
Jane, second.
Jane, thank you. Okay,
Excuse
Bob?
me.
Yes.
Ben?
I agree.
Steph?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Mr. Riley, I think we accomplished, in a manner of speaking, what you were attempting to accomplish. But it's a process that we have to go through. I don't agree with all your comments of the historical significance of the Stage Harbor Road, but that's for another meeting. So, okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Frank?
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
sir. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
I don't disagree with the historical significance of Stage Harbor Road and most of the houses along it. But
right.
The statute is clear. If you don't have the owners of the property agreeing to impose the district, you don't have a district. And that's the thing that I don't understand. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help today.
Bill, that's
Thanks,
not
Bill.
true. That's not correct. You're just not, unfortunately, you're misstating the fact that the Historical Commission took an informal vote on whether or not to submit a formal application to Mass Historic is all that happened. The Mass Historic had already determined that the district was eligible, and at any time, the Historical Commission could, in fact, submit an application. It is then up to Mass Historic Commission to decide and determine how the vote is transpired. It is not up to the applicants. You know, they will have an opportunity to vote, but that formal vote was never taken. So thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, look, we got a couple of very important items, and I would like to proceed very quickly for new business. Okay?
Frank.
So as somebody else has to say on new business, I'm going to proceed.
Frank,
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
this is Michelle. I'm sorry. I've been trying to get your attention to find out whether or not the commission has any interest in the first part of that motion, confirming that it is a contributing structure in an eligible district.
Michelle, I deliberately avoided that topic.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just thought I would bring it up. Thank you.
I understand your concern.
Okay.
That's right, Michelle. Thank you very much. Okay.
Well,
We're going to do this quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you allow the
can
chair
you
to
hear me?
proceed, I would proceed. Thank you very much. We are now under new business. The first item is new business. Do I have the floor? Thank you. The first item under new business is a review of rules and regulations. I think we had a situation here tonight, or this afternoon. Oh, it is almost tonight. As it relates to rules and regulation, I just want to move quickly. Bob, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Oliver used to be our rules and reg guy. I don't want to give you a large task, but can I ask you to take a quick look at our rules and regs, and maybe in some time in the future, we can discuss among the commission, when we don't have 8 or 9 applications, the process for review of field changes. You and I are both involved when there are changes to an application which is already prepared, and I think we need to codify some of that issue, and certainly make some recommendations back to the Director of Community Development for the administrative review process. Bob, can I impose upon you to take that task?
Yeah, there is a provision there already. I don't have it right in front of me for that administrative review. I can certainly see whether it ought to be clarified or made a little more precise. And the administrative review of applications is a different animal that we have discussed in the past. And I know you've discussed it with Ms. Donovan. So yeah, I mean, I've had a number of discussions. I can make some recommendations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. The second item, unless somebody has some major objection to that, is Michelle and I have been talking about the review of the application process as it respects to the guidelines and submission requirements. We're doing much better now in terms of getting different kinds of applications, but we still would like to formally establish some guidelines so we can have more discernible and clear applications. So that's just information to know that in the future, Michelle is going to set up a meeting of the appropriate people, probably Mr. Donovan, Jay Briggs, Ally, and myself, and possibly Mr. Lear. So that's just something else to look about. The third item there is the infamous Coast Guard boathouse, which this commission about 15 years ago, or maybe 12 years, made a motion to declare the boathouse historically significant. We could not hear it as a formal application to stop its demolition or its leaving Chatham, because the boathouse was not 75 years old. So there was no demolition delay, but there certainly was a resolution. I've asked Michelle to dig out that resolution, and I would like to ask that our next meeting, the Historical Commission look at it again. The historical situation is that the boathouse, which was moved to Quincy by Mr. Cashman, Jay Cashman, and was never actually, a permanent home was never found. recently, within the last 2 years, the boathouse, the Coast Guard boathouse, the really very historic house, being the years in Chatham and what it saw, storing our Coast Guard, I think it's 3500 boat, is now up for auction. I can report to you that the auction will more than likely be delayed, and that a group of individuals in town is getting together to see if once again we can find a way to bring the Coast Guard boathouse home. So that's more for information. And once Michelle finds the previous motions that we took, I would like to have a little bit more in-depth discussion on the historical significance of the Coast Guard boathouse. Okay. Ally, just quickly, do we have a draft bylaw in process, or we're under old business?
Sure. I think that the last we left off, there was a few questions that we wanted to discuss with the commission, and then we are also going to send it to town council for review. If you'd like, I can get that process started for sending town council. I talked to the director of community development today, and she was fine with that. So I'm just kind of looking for direction, I guess, at the moment.
Well, I think the direction we gave last meeting, or at least we thought, was that we agreed just to function on the dimensional element at this particular point, and at least get the application, the bylaw, to council, so we could have that discussion with him. Is that okay, Ally?
That's perfect. I'll get on that.
Thank you very much. My voice is going. The next item is the preservation award.
Frank, one thing before you go, that we also agreed, at least my notes are, to use the historically significant definition that we already have.
Yes.
And not try to find something else.
Thank you very much. Ally, did you get that?
Yep. Thank you very much.
Okay. Preservation awards. We did not have an award ceremony in 2020 because we only had 2 applications, specifically Miss Ellen Briggs's windmill and the Summer Hill home in South Chatham, which was extremely well done and historic. It's come to light to me that in addition to those 2, we have a couple of other applications that would like to be considered. Specifically 194 Champlain, the starboard light, which I think if you go by it, you're going to see a rather interesting saving of that historic structure, as well as 407 Main Street, the old Malabar house, which was done. So there's at least 5 applications potentially for us. As a result of that, I will call the Preservation Awards group together to see what process we want to do. Now, obviously, due to COVID, we probably will not have a formal award ceremony, but, in this day and age with Zoom and everything else we're doing, we could probably still do something to acknowledge some significant preservation work that is being done. Okay. 57 Water Street, we have not, the stop work that was issued, we have not received any information, so that is still in effect, as well as the process that we need to do at some particular time in consultation with Mr. Briggs, the building inspector, for the process for adherence to the Historical Commission decisions. I did receive some information from Michael Collins. I'm sorry, Michelle, was that you?
Yes, sir. The stop work order has been lifted. You saw the plan Tim submitted, and Jay reviewed the plan, and the stop work is has been lifted.
I'm happy to hear that. Did I see the plans?
Yes, sir.
I don't think so, but we can talk about it. Okay, back to what I was talking about. The next item, 68 Shell Drive. We are having some problems with that at the present time. I'll be very candid with you. Mass Historic gave a determination saying it's eligible, but questioned the date. So there's not much to say other than the fact that the archaeologist doesn't agree with Mass Historic's determination of the age of the property and has prepared a response to Mass Historic. What I would like to do is share with you the archaeologist's response and potentially prepare a letter for the record to Mass Historic as it relates to the whether or not the home is or is not first period. Other than that, that's where we are with that. There's nothing else to say on Monomoy property or the South Chatham, other than in my conversation with Mass Historic, they are working on the South Chatham Village National Register application, and the Monomoy Theater property is currently on hold, as well as the application for National Register designation. Your chairman has lost his voice. I'm sorry to be so long-winded about this, guys, but we're doing a lot of things. Is there anything else that somebody would like to speak to, or any member of the public want to admonish us for our behavior? Please feel free.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Second by Mr. Aikman. We keep this up, we're going to need a new chair. My voice is gone. Okay, motion and second. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
For adjournment. Ben, for adjournment?
Ben, yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Steve? Thank. Chair votes yes. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate your patience with me. And we'll be in touch, guys. Thank you for your good work.